So the Alabama High School Football Coaches Association dinner was a week ago, and Nick and Kirby and almost everybody was there, which is not an abnormal thing. This is a great time for college coaches to go visit with high school coaches and form relationships. This is one thing though that came out of it was that, and this has been widely reported now, um, that a defensive back in the 2023 class asked Nick Saban for $800,000 to get his commitment, and it kind of set off a long form rant. I don't know if it was, I'd call it a rant, but a discussion from Nick about players asking for money before they've ever done anything, and I mean, obviously, apparently, Nick did not sign this player or chose not to, or whatever you want to call it. But here's what AL.com wrote about it. He said, they say, there were two examples of players requesting more than $1 million combined in the last cycle, both of which the 70-year-old, talking about Nick, declined to name. One 2023 defensive back, per Nick Saban, asked for $800,000 in return for his commitment. AL goes on to report, quote, "This ain't the school for you then, because it's not fair for those that are already here, for someone to come in and ask who hasn't played a snap yet and prove yourself on that level, already demanding money." That's what Clarence Williams, offensive and recruiting coordinator at Ramsey High, recalled Saban saying during the question and answer session about 6 days ago. AL goes on to say, AL.com goes on to report, sources in attendance said Saban explained a request involving a player the Tide lost in the transfer portal, requesting $500,000 and his girlfriend's acceptance in the University of Alabama School of Law to stay with the team. Saban also speculated on NIL opportunities becoming legal for high schoolers within Alabama. I don't have really much to say about that. I mean, it's hard to. I'll just point out, it's hard to say that amateurism has been changed in college, but it can't be changed in high school. I mean, a high schooler can go out and earn money at Baskin Robbins or Chick-fil-A or anywhere that wants to sponsor the program. So I don't know, but this is unfettered capitalism. This is the world that we live in. It's, NIL. Everybody seems to be like offended by NIL, which is kind of annoying, I have to tell you. It's an opportunity to create, as Nick would say, to create value for yourself. What I don't think he's wrong about, though, is that it's getting carried away for people who have not done anything, yet. Um, but there's been high school recruits with their hand out for decades. That's not new at all. And um, I mean, I think there's a lot of complaining, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know if this is a coaches and media obsession or what, because the product on the field has been a very enjoyable product this season in college football, if you think about it. I mean, just think about Alabama's season with the Tennessee game, the Texas game, the Texas A&M game, the LSU game. You're not thinking about if Bryce Young has $1 million NIL deal, which he did, or Stetson Bennett or Keely Ringo or who. I mean, we did a NIL deal with Keely. It was a great experience for us. Keely can speak for himself, but I don't think he had a bad time. We kicked around doing another one, just didn't work out because of timing. So uh, I don't know. Hey, look, pick up Double Dogs today. Speaking of Keely, he's right down here. A lot of folks are getting both. What's happening is I'll have Double Dogs in stock. Dog Instructions. Um, I'm trying to figure out how many people are going to order Dog Instruction before I place an order for it. But pick them up both today. Double Dogs will be sent out to folks who've already ordered with the confetti. It will be sent out later in February. For people complaining about us advertising, you don't seem to complain when we're in Los Angeles. How do you think we get out there? It's by people buying our products, whether it's a subscription on the website or whatever. Advertising's been a part of media for centuries, fellas and ladies. Get over yourselves. But anyway, Double Dogs is available, and it's not quite back from the printer yet. Let me put it that way. So I don't, NIL has never bothered me. Now, I played sports in college on scholarship and all that stuff, and we had to abide by NCAA rules, et cetera. But we didn't really have an opportunity to take advantage of name and likeness because nobody cared about us. But the rules still applied to us. And one of my teammates had a kid, and he would have well, he chose because we couldn't have jobs. All right, these rules have been changed a little bit, but the NCAA can be so antiquated, and it's the school's fault. The school should have changed this a long, long time ago, and they let it get to this stage. Okay, they were taking advantage of the players by selling their name, image, and likeness, but not by sharing the revenue with them. And my teammate would purchase books, used books, from students, and then a semester later he would sell them, or he'd just go around and turn around and sell them in a week or two later to people who did need that book, and he would sell them at a, whatever his price was, and he made enough money, okay, to do whatever he couldn't work. He's a scholarship basketball player, could not work. So that's the tiny level of all of this. The bigger level is now, let's just look at Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers has not fewer than two NIL deals. Brock Bowers is one of the best players in college football. Would it have been right for Brock Bowers to, quote, demand? I don't know what a demand is and what an ask is, but um, would it have been right for Brock to say, I need $1 million to come to Georgia? I don't think it would have been wrong. Do you? I mean, it doesn't mean you got to do it, but I mean, Brock Bowers has certainly been worth $1 million to Georgia, no question. Um, how much has Stetson Bennett been worth to Georgia? Okay, that's where we're at now. Is the coaches? I don't think. I mean, I'm being very nuanced here. I think Nick was aggravated or outraged, however you want to put it, by the fact that someone who's never done anything was asking for something in return for being on the roster at Alabama. College football programs have been breaking slash bending the rules for decades. I mean, that's not new. So I want to kind of remind everybody to chill out on the outrage a little bit about all this stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say anything further than that, but can we just like not go too crazy with the outrage considering all that's gone on from, the 70s on, maybe even the 60s. I don't know much about all that time. I know plenty about the 2000s and 2010s. So can we just like kind of keep the outrage muted a little bit? But I think if a coach feels like a player or a recruit is trying to, leverage their situation, I don't really know how that's different than any other business transaction. And I'm not saying that specifically about Nick, but I'll use Nick as an example. I mean, Nick got a contract extension a year ago, and he probably will get one this year for going 10-2 and winning the Sugar Bowl, which is not at all the Nick Saban we've gotten used to at Alabama. Um, Now that probably, I don't know. It's business. And he's using the leverage he's got over Alabama in order to get more money. And these players, they have leverage now. They have more leverage than they've ever than they've ever had. But their number one point of leverage is saying, "I will stay or I will go." I've not heard Kirby talk about this yet publicly, um, but I don't think that the coaches are really wrong. I just don't think that there's, and I don't know if Nick was mad or not or whatever, but you always get this uh, feel that people are either bothered, offended, aggravated, something like that about NIL. being asked of their program, or if they can't control it, they don't like it. They don't like it. Well, then get your state government or get the feds to pass something, that is equitable, that everybody can like. That everybody won't like it, but I think people complain too much about stuff that has been going on for a very long time in college football. And, you know, these highly paid coaches, whether you're talking about, Sark, Dabo, Hugh Freeze makes a huge amount of money now. That money is coming from these players playing and those coaches coaching. And where I feel like the market has valued those coaches at that dollar amount is also very probable that many of these players are valued where they're valued at. And maybe, the reality is if you can get it, then you're worth it. If you can get it, then you're worth it. We'll see you on the next video.